was a lot of discussion. Who was going to be there? Who was going to be that new third? And Effect, I think he fits right in.
Yep, Effect in his debut has looked great. The amount of damage that he's able to do to open things up for his two teammates to kind of close out has been massive for the squad. The controller player from Russia relocated to Serbia to compete. Effect in his debut. But guess what? Game number 4 is here. Onset, Gaskin, take us through the action here on World's Edge for game number 4.
It would be our absolute pleasure and privilege to do so. And we are going over to World's Edge. Like you say, it's time for a little bit of a change of scenery here. And I've got a little, we have these sayings that go around, Dan, right? That kind of become commonplace. And I think my favorite one to apply to that last game, and what we saw from GG, was form is temporary, but class is permanent.
Yeah, it is just kind of, you've got to look at what a team does and how they battle through the hard times, because it's all well and good being a squad who really struggles in early stages and then disbanding or trying different compositions or doing whatever you can. It's about sticking to your guns. It's about sticking to playing the game you think the game should be played. And I think that's exactly what we saw from Gaming Gladiators. They just showed sheer amount of aggression in that game. They showed what they were made of. They bullied teams in every aspect of the game, and they found success. So I think that it's just picking up the pace a little bit in the right times for Gaming Gladiators, and they should still be able to find success and get some more consistency.
Yeah, not only that, the fact that they have such a priority drop spot here on World's Edge as well at Lava Cypher. This is arguably, in my personal opinion, one of the best places to drop, not just because of the how close you are to a lot of zones. It's a fairly central drop. The loot pool that you get if you're uncontested here is pretty much second to none. You also get beacon information. Sometimes you get the crafter as well. You're usually leaving fully suited and booted, and I'm talking like cravat, tie, pocket square, everything you could possibly want to go into those team fights, as well as having the option to get early priority position. But we are actually going to see a little bit of a contest going down here, Dan, which is, I'm not going to lie, I kind of enjoy seeing this a little bit.
Yeah, just a couple of arguments happening in the early stages of a game, and maybe just fighting for a drop spot or someone dropping in your vicinity. So it's about letting them know in game number 1 so they don't do it again in games number 2 or 3. But whoever does win this game, win this fight, might have a chance to win the entire game. That's sometimes how it can work and how detrimental it can be, losing these early stages. We did get a brief overlook of the circle, which we'll touch upon later, because it looks like Corpa, they want this, Mark. They are continuing to be aggressive here.
I've loved watching Corpa play today. I have to be honest. Every time they get damage done, they close that gap so quickly. You can see as well here, 3 tricks. He got some damage down, immediately knows that he's got a few seconds to cross and try and get damage down before that player gets his heals off. Also, when you're playing on Seer, if you can get into position to hit that Q and cancel those heals, all of a sudden the fight is heavily in your favor. But the fight may be turning now, because Heroes look like they've managed to get reset and also managed to get a little bit of a fight going their way.
Yeah, Fricks has just gone down, and that's going to be tough now for Ember to try and get back onto things. Pavis also falls, and suddenly it's a 1 versus 3. Heroes going to get aggressive, going to try and push up on this and try and secure this KP. But this is a lot of noise that's happening on World's Edge, and I think teams might be drawn to it, might be able to potentially third party. It depends who is in the closest vicinity to really show what they're made of here and try and get a little bit of extra KP. But hats off to Heroes for being able to be so successful in that push.
Yep, but here come the boys who were trying to force them off of that drop spot. It's going to be another 3v3 going down. It looks like Wraith has managed to get some heals off, but he's immediately going to have them stripped back off again. As now you're going to see Zako trying to use that black hole and also use this Havoc to do some damage, and Clutch will fall. I mean, the Havoc, I've got to say, if you get a turbocharge on that thing this season, it's still pretty nasty. Let me tell you, as you're going to see another example of it here.
Oh my god, just every player that walks in his crosshairs right now is getting absolutely obliterated. Needs a little bit of help now from the rest of the team, but you push out a bit hastily, and Corpa do go down. And unfortunately for them, they tried to just get aggressive after seeing the damage. But as I said, this attracts a lot of attention, a lot of noise happening in the area, and everyone wants a piece of it.
It's a 1v1, and actually, Fricks managed to get back to his feet. This is Ember coming back. You saw that Young Hong Kong managed to get into a position to stay alive, and now he's got to try and close out, but no! This is looking a little bit shaky, and Heroes are eliminated, and Ember, who were the first team actually involved in this fight going down. Young Hong Kong escaped with just a couple of breaths left in his lungs, and he comes back to finish things off, gets his teammate back up, and now Bavis is probably watching and going, nice job, boys. Hit that beacon, get me back in the game.
Unreal, really. That whole engagement, I think Heroes would have been confident as they made it a 3 versus 1 against Ember. The last player gets away, a third party arrives, Ember get back to 2. It's just everything that could have happened in that fight did seem to happen, and I didn't think Ember would be the team that comes out on top, but somehow they managed to achieve it, and now, as you say, they can try and reset, get that third player up, but of course, when you do deliver them to a beacon, there is going to be extra attention. But with the zone coming in, perhaps you can get away with it, perhaps there's not going to be any teams in that vicinity now that you have to worry about, and as I look at the map overhead, it looks like Ember should be okay to get that player back in. Mavis should come back in, but now it's going to be a long old journey to the northern side of the map, because that's where we're going to be heading. We are going to be going northeast for this final circle, not as far as Climatizer. It's just going to be kind of probably north of Fragment East, around the lava areas. I would imagine we're going to finish around here, and we've got a lot of teams that are already setting up around there, but maybe 5, 6, 7 teams who are still outside of circle and have still got to make their way through.
Yeah, that high ground is going to be really important to hold down as well around Epicenter. But one team that got eliminated, if you were kind of caught up and swept away by the team fights that were going down early on, was actually Ascendan. So Ascend have been a little bit quiet today. We saw them in the early game. In that first game, we should say, have a pretty good finish, but apart from that, just seem to have fallen apart a little bit. Not when I say fallen apart, I'm comparing it to their ridiculous standards that they set, of course, the last time that we saw them on our screens with those 3 back-to-back wins. But certainly, maybe a few things to think about for them.
Yeah, I think that they've had a frustrating game in game number 3, and sometimes that can change your approach to game number 4, because I will always say that Apex is about confidence. It's about when you're going to be pushing into fights, and do you believe in your team? Do you believe in your ability to win that engagement? Do you believe in the calls that your IGL is making when it comes down to those rotations? And if you do have a really poor game prior to changing map, I think that is always going to like just knock the confidence ever so slightly of teams, and perhaps that's what we'll see from Ascend. But also Element 6, another team that has been struggling, another team that's probably not riding high on confidence right now. They have been able to get into the circle for now up by survey camp, but they are going to have to move a little bit further, and they've got that beacon information, so they will be moving probably sooner rather than later, especially having the Caustic available to them.
Yeah, a little bit of flexibility in the composition here. You're seeing, like you mentioned, Caustic, and it's been a weird day, to be honest, for E6. We've seen them inside a zone more often than not when they're having to take their team fights, and they just seem to not be able to get the timing on their rotations or being held up, whatever it might be. But the game plan certainly has not been working for them so far, so K-Swinny is going to have to go back to the drawing boards between maps, and hopefully on World's Edge he'll have something a little bit different here. We do see a fight about to break out now between Game of Thrones and a team. He's trying to hold them out here with a couple of Watson fences. Let's see what the comms are like as they try and take this fight. They're getting aggressive here. Let's jump in with Game of Drones.
They play on the respawn beacon.
Ulting. One is her right. Lock one.
Push that, push that.
One is close, one is close.
Yeah. Kill the guy close, kill the guy close.
I got destroyed, I'm healing.
Watching the 2 guys behind.
Yeah.
Lock cracked. I'm baiting.
Yeah. One is on the tower, I'm healing.
They're all there now.
All there? Okay.
Yeah, all there. I can hit a Q.
We can angle this. On blue.
You can fly on the rock. Seer crack.
Okay, good. I'm pushing up a bit.
I'm selling.
I got destroyed. I'm healing.
Can we...
Watch out, you're right there.
I might be dead.
They took the house now. I have to go back.
So far back.
Wait, chill.
Like...
Under tower. Moving up. 30. Still low.
Oh, one is
I'm gonna get a cancel.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, as we jump back into the comms stand, Game of Drones never looked comfortable, and who's on the other side of this fight? It's GG. After the back of a GG themselves picking up that first place finish, all of a sudden you're seeing how hard it is to fight against them.
Yeah, just a fun fact on Torhei as well from Game of Drones. Actually, he used to be a speedrunner. I remember interviewing him back when I did a speedrunning show ages ago, years ago, and it's amazing to see what he's now doing in Apex Legends. It was not a name I was expecting to see when Pro League got announced in the Challenger circuit and all of that good stuff. But Gaming Gladiators, anyway, have been able to take down 2 of those members, and now it's just a case of whether they are able to get the 3rd and try and get that extra little bit of KP. But you heard in the communications, frustration. Why are you not here? Why aren't we there? Why aren't we pushed up a little bit more? These are the things that you need to try and kind of nail down in Pro League to make sure that you are on top of your game.
Ardeki and Leogri combine to get the finish on that down and say, give me the loot, give me the loot. as they pick up a few more goodies to make their way towards the end game. But like you mentioned, confidence is such a big thing. Look at how Game and Gladiators looked in that fight. Completely different from what they looked last week, the week before. Just confident. Every single time that a player from Game of Thrones tried to peek, the shots came back. But I will say Game of Thrones, they had a couple of opportunities there in that fight to get that first down. But even though we always talk about the technical aspects, you know, the timing, your rotations, how you plan, what teams you can expect to fight, sometimes you just have to hit shots. And that was the one thing I think that was missing at one point.
Yeah, really tough for them. And I think the last remaining rat is going to have a very miserable game trying to stay alive in World's Edge, because this is a little bit more comfortable for a lot of these teams. I know I say it a lot, but I think World's Edge is the tried and tested home. You know, these teams have played it for extra amounts of years over Storm Point. As we move over to Vexed, we talk about their aggression, we talk about how many kills they're able to pick up, but do they have the consistency to get those victories? That's our biggest question about Vexed Gaming. When you look at the bigger tournaments, when we get to championships, when we get to playoffs and match point becomes a thing, are Vexed Gaming still going to have that success?
Well, E6 once again find themselves without a player, and it's not looking good for them in game number 4, much like it has it in games 1 to 3 so far. So even though they got a playable spot, not having one of their main slayers on the team on Horizon is going to make this a little bit tougher. They do have Course Difficult Course, which is going to make things a little bit more difficult for teams to push. But as we jump over to Vexed Gaming, who are kind of overlooking a lot of the fights that are going down on the high ground of Epicenter, I want to see what's happening with E6. E6 still involved in this fight, and K-Swinny has just evened things up a little bit here. Slayers is going to go down, though, and it all falls on the IGL now, on the Crypto, to try and survive here, win this fight, maybe even think about getting his teammates back up.
Yeah, unfortunately for E6, there's just so many teams around them. It's Phoenix Legacy on the other side also doing the damage and taking down Slayers. So now K-Swinny's going to have to try and get away. Has a 1, but again, it's a 3 versus 1 that is not going to happen because people know ratting it out, trying to survive and getting those placement points can be so important here on World's Edge. G-Dolphin still sticking with the Rampart, and I think that's just going to be the case for the entire tournament now, it would seem. He seems to be very much set on Rampart, and Phoenix Legacy have found minimal success so far, but certainly could have that one pop-off game. There's actually 2 Ramparts in the lobby now, though, Mark, so it's not going to be the only Rampart that we're going to have to deal with if you are trying to rotate on this map. There is another Sheila that could be coming into the equation.
It's contagious, man. That's what it is. It's a breakout of Ramparts in the Apex Legends Global Series. Are we going to see this catching on? Is G-Dolphin going to set the trend for everyone else? Obviously, he's been running this thing in rank for quite some time, but is Sheila going to have the final say in the circle? Part of me wants to see it. The horrible, toxic part of me wants to see Sheila destroy everybody in the final circle and pick up about 7 kills in about the same amount of seconds. But for now, we're going to watch EKO Esports, see what they can do from this position. They're down on the bottom of the central tower here in Epicenter, trying to kind of spot out what the next move is. Even though this is safe for now, it's so difficult to leave this environment with 17 squads remaining. Only 2 exits, and all of a sudden, if you see a black hole come down on one of those doors, a couple of arc stars, frag grenades, whatever it might be, leaving becomes a very, very difficult situation.
And we are seeing a much more standard composition pick rate at the moment between all of these teams. I mean, EKO Esports going for the Horizon Valkyrie Seer, that's pretty common. We've got 7 legends selected in total. Rampart and Caustic are kind of the 2 off-meta picks that we're seeing, but elsewhere it's kind of what we expected. We've got Crypto, Horizon, Watson, Seer, and Valkyrie. Again, a 90% pick rate on the Valkyrie, but at the moment, Forge left with just Rowe to try and stay alive as the Watson, but it's not going to be easy.
Not going to be easy indeed. A couple of gens down. One of those going to explode as 3 Muppets now move into 30-30. It's fully decked out in gold at the moment, but it's not going to pick up the kill that was required. And it looks like the damage is actually coming in. So retreating to the teammates is always the smartest thing to do in those situations. And it looks like 3 Muppets will survive. But look at their positioning here, Dan. This is the train car. A lot of the time, we see this zone pull towards, which is why you're seeing such fierce fighting going down for this area. If you can control both towards this endgame and show presence, you put yourself in a great spot.
I mean, if you can get a Caustic in there as well, we've seen what that can happen back in the Caustic metas when there was Caustics left, right, and center. It's so important to block the vision, impair the vision of your opponents. And I think a lot of people will be gunning for those spots on the train track. But there's still about 8 teams at the moment who are outside of the next circle. So there is going to be so much damage that is going to go down from those who are within it, looking out. And it's going to be tough to rotate in. As I say that, Alliance are on their rotation. They do find one of the members of Ember. Remember, Ember won that initial fight that we first saw at the start of this game, but it seems like they've been caught out here by Alliance.
Well, if there's anyone behind this door, and about to have a very, very awkward time. The door will disappear, the stick will come in, and Effect is showing what he brings to this Alliance lineup. Huge damage being done, but they haven't quite managed to finish the players off inside at the moment. Maybe a third party now coming in, and now you're going to see Hackett go down. So this situation, which looked like all of the cards were in the favor of Alliance, now looks a little bit less comfortable. Another team looking over from the tracks, trying to third party, but Yuki now taking responsibility to hit some shots, and he's going to do so nicely.
I think this was the risk about any of these teams taking fights outside of the circle. There are so many teams at the moment who aren't in circle that are looking for KP, are looking to try and maximize? They're trying to maximize the points they can score outside of the circle without placement right now. So Turkish Stars, they are inside, they are going to get aggressive, they are going to push out, and they are going to try and punish Alliance for that initial push. And it looks like Alliance may be falling.
Yeah, they might be falling, but Draconian goes down. There is the trade. So there's one player left alive still for Alliance. It's a 1v1 all of a sudden as Kralex gets wrecked by numerous players. Turkish Stars eliminated, and Yuki stays alive. And most importantly, none of the downed Alliance players were finished. So Yuki can now pop this medkit, get up to full health, and think about getting Hackett and Effect back in this game.
How are Alliance still alive here? Turkish Stars would have thought they had the jump on them, but now Yuki is going to have to do the unthinkable. But no, it's still a 1v1. It's Bavis from Ember, and he gets shut down as well. And Yuki is on a tear, but unfortunately is not going to have time to res his teammates. So now he's just going to have to go on without them and try and get some placement because they've already got good KP here.
I mean, Yuki diff. He's got the knockdown shields to work with, but still winning that situation. Unfortunately, he's going to have to wave goodbye to Effect and Hackett, and maybe Hackett is going to be able to watch him and make some late game calls for him. But somehow, look at this. Yuki has managed to walk into this position. I'm not sure if he knows there's a player just around this corner. It doesn't. It's a jump scare. The zone's going to have an influence as well. And Yuki, unfortunately for Alliance, even after the magic he managed to do, will go down. Rondon wins the 1v1 rat battle,
but then goes down. Both rats eliminated, and those players who are center circle are going to be feeling good about themselves. Look at this place from Forge, but Bitfix Gaming just outside of the circle right now are going to be having a little bit of a scrap. It's a 2 versus X. This is where our other Rampart features, by the way, but it's the Gaming Gladiators once more. Confidence oozing through their veins right now.
They look like a completely different squad all of a sudden. And there was one move that was made by Hardeki, and I'm going to call it the Hardeki shuffle right now, where in that last game, he gets damage, and immediately you see him just whip that mouse a little bit left, a little bit right, hits that crouch, and he is flying forward at you. That shows confidence. That shows that he's feeling himself once more, and he is taking the reins here for GG. But Vexed, they're on the outside. Pioneer's eliminated now by Vexed, but here comes that third party.
Yeah, at what cost was this aggression, as Vex now should get wiped by LFO Forever, who will be the last team to enter, will eliminate Vex in the end. And again, all these teams who are outside the circle, who are trying to move their way in, are just being jumped on, pounced on as soon as there's any sort of advantage, as now Na'Vi also get eliminated. IG on top of them, and IG also shredding as well. JMW, what was that?
JMW, there's too many numbers for me to even call out in that position, but now he's got to do a little bit more damage because Graceful is alongside him. JMW has managed to get a battery off, but Noises is down. 5 squads remaining. Invictus trying to force their way in, but here come the cancels. They're trying to get the finish, maybe to have an armor swap available, but here is Graceful, and 3 Muppets go down.
Wow, what a fight from IG as well, and just in time to get Noises back up and now heal up before you move into this next circle. We've got 4 squads left, so there is going to be opportunity to kind of take your time a little bit here. But look at Jay Savage and co. We saw them earlier in this kind of train cart, this broken down train cart, and now they're going to be able to use this to full advantage because they will be in the prime position that other teams are going to be looking at. But the other train cart you see on your screen is currently free.
Wicked sick. He's got a Kraber, and he did huge damage. 140 to one of those members from Gaming Gladiators who's trying to move down that hill. They know they've got to move through the open. That's why they were trying to make a little bit of an earlier move. You can also see that LFO are going to have to make that play. And the train cart, I'm telling you, there's no seats available for everyone. As now LFO try and get in there, get in that mix, do a little bit of damage. Another 140, but it's not going to get that knock like he used to.
Well, IG have got into that other train cart just north of LFO Forever here, so IG now are going to be so thankful that it wasn't taken. They can kind of watch all this battle happening in front of them as Horizon will get taken down. LFO Forever, unfortunately, look like they're going to be demising very quickly, and we're into a 3 now.
And look at the move now. GG see the damage done. They know that the heals aren't going to have time to be popped. Hardeki moves in. The shuffle is there. And all of a sudden, Gaming Gladiators starting to take over this game. 2 squads remaining, but Hardeki's down. And surely, Dan, that just opens the door now for Invictus.
Yeah, Invictus will full send it. Is going to be against a 2. Are they quick enough, though? That's the real question. Do they have the positioning? They will surround them, and they triangulate to make sure they get the shots here.
Big damage being done. This is just a matter of time. IG move in. IG will win. They will be your champions in our first game of World's Edge today in game number 4, and it was all about that previous minute or so where they won those vital fights on the edge of zone. And as the observers do an amazing,